Yeah. Thank God, right?
I hope I was some help to you.
You were. I took the test today. I felt pretty good about it.
Did you? Yeah, you seem to
I
actually
did.
know what you were doing on the physics pretty good.
hmm I just wanted to make sure that, like, I was doing like the right
Mhm.
equations, because if you do the wrong equation, you'll get the entirely different answers. And
Yes, you will. You always have to use the right equations. And
there's
I
so many
think I
equations
probably
when it comes to.
confused you a little bit with newtons and foot-pounds.
Oh
Newtons
yeah.
and foot-pounds are measurements of work, not
hmm
force.
Right. Right.
Force is measured in pounds or kilograms.
hmm
So force is in kilograms or pounds, and then its acceleration that's in meters per second. And so
hmm
you end up with um, force equal mass times acceleration. But force
Right.
is going to end up in either pounds or kilograms, not newtons. And one of
Okay.
those questions, I think it referred to newtons as a force, and newtons are work.
I
You,
think it did. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it
Uh-huh.
was wrong. But
Yeah.
work is force times distance.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a force that's in pounds and you have a distance that's in feet, then the
hmm
amount of work done is in foot pounds. And
Right.
European equivalent to foot pounds is newtons.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
newtons is a measurement of work, not force.
Right.
And I believe they were referring to it as a force, in fact. And
Pretty sure
I
they
didn't
were
pick it up until after I started thinking about it later. So,
too. No, you're good.
um,
No worries.
okay, let's have a look at
Awesome.
this one here.
Yeah.
A suitcase is to be constructed of a piece of cardboard, cutting squares in the positions shown, and then folding up the sides.
hmm
Now, hmm, okay, hold on a second. Let me make sure I understand it. They didn't draw a very good picture here, but if
Not really. Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, this
yeah,
isn't the best.
what they really mean is the following.
Okay.
You're going to cut a square out of the cardboard, right?
hmm
And right here,
Right.
and right
And then
here,
it's three,
and
or
there,
3 inches. Yeah.
and they're going to cut a rectangle out there.
Okay.
Notice that if I do that from this piece of cardboard that's 20 by 36, I will end up with what they have drawn.
hmm
And now I can fold this thing together to make a suitcase. In other
Okay.
words, I'm going to fold it on that line, that line, that line. There's the base of the suitcase.
hmm
And then I'm going to fold it on those lines, and those lines. Once I fold it up, fold the flaps over, all four flaps, I'll have a suitcase. I
Right.
think.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So would it just be, since they're adding 3 inches on all corners, so wouldn't the length be 26 inches?
We only hadn't gotten to the problem yet. Let me look at the problem.
Oh yeah, my bad. I thought.
No, my problem was I couldn't scroll. Let me shrink this a little bit so I have
Yeah, definitely. A
more
little more.
of the problem. Okay, we'll just deal with one for the moment.
hmm
If the square in the upper left and lower left corners is 3 inches, I assume they mean 3 inches per side,
hmm
which they don't say, but
Just yeah.
so what is this distance? You said it.
26 inches.
It's 20 inches from here to here. The smaller distance can't be 26.
Oh, is it asking for the smaller distance?
Well, they're looking for the length of the suitcase. Notice that
Right.
when we make a suitcase here, the length is
Oh, I
from
get.
here
Yeah.
to here, right?
Right.
Okay, so what is that length?
So would it just be 20? I mean, like, where?
20 is
Well,
from here to
in
there.
there. Oh, so you subtract 6.
There you go.
Okay.
So 14.
Yeah. Okay,
So
that
the
makes sense.
length of the suitcase is 14.
And then
What's the
the width is
width? And the
30.
width they're referring to, I believe, is this,
Sorry.
right? In other words, this would be length, and that would be width.
Uh-huh.
And height would be that measurement.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're going to ask the height next. So this is definitely the width. In other words, when I fold it all up and I have a suitcase, the length of my suitcase is that measurement, the width is that measurement, and that's the height.
Okay.
So what's the width?
The width would be 30 inches. Because it's the whole length, and you're subtracting 3 for the, yeah.
Good.
Cool.
No. Well, hold
No.
on a second. What the heck am I thinking?
Oh,
If
you're good.
it's 36 from there to there, so it's 30 from
Mm-hmm.
there to there.
Yeah.
Correct?
Right.
In other words, I subtract 6 to get that measurement, but that's not the width.
No.
Problem here, they didn't tell us the width.
No, they didn't.
And I think I can draw two different pictures that give two different widths that's exactly the same as this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think about this for a second. That's 3,
Mm-hmm.
and that's 3.
Yeah.
So I know that it is 30 from there to there. But depending on the height, makes that different. In other words, this measurement here is going to affect the width.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And they haven't told us what that measurement is. Why
No.
can't I draw this exact same picture
Mm-hmm.
this way? And if I can draw it a different way that gives a different width, then they've screwed up here.
Yeah.
And I think I can.
Uh-huh.
Notice what I'm doing. I'm still going to be able to build a suitcase,
Yeah.
only it's got a different width than their suitcase. And
Right.
I've taken out a 3-inch square there, a 3-inch square there, a 3-inch square there, and a 3-inch square there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way to tell the width.
No.
Unless they give us this dimension. Then I could tell the width, because I
Right.
know these two are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is I don't know what one of them is. They didn't tell
Yeah.
it to me.
They didn't.
The
No.
length I can get, this is 14 from there to
Uh-huh.
there.
Right.
But the height I don't know, because the height can be their height that they have from there to there, or the height can be what I have from there, actually from there to there is my height.
Uh-huh.
So unknown, unknown, unknown.
Okay.
Because in order to get the volume, I'm going to need to know the width and the height. Now,
Uh-huh.
God, I can't believe they would make this big of a mistake.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think that they meant
I
to
can
tell us more information and they just didn't do it. They have to
Yeah.
give us a clue as to what this measurement is right there.
Yeah.
They didn't do it.
Mhm.
All they told us is that this little square that we cut out of the box is 3 inches by 3 inches. They didn't even say that.
No, they didn't.
They said it's 3 inches. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean the area is 3 inches or each side is 3 inches?
Right. We
They
don't
don't
know.
tell you.
Mm.
But the fact is that I can cut 4 3-inch squares out of this suitcase, and
Mhm.
depending on where that line is, determines my width. And I can make
Yeah.
that line wherever I want. I can make it over here and make a really wide suitcase.
Uh-huh.
Still have the same length suitcase, but I can make a
Right.
wider suitcase. And in order to make this suitcase, I'm going to have to cut out something from right there.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you how big that cutout is.
No, they don't.
So I'm puzzled by this. And they definitely specified that it's only a 3-inch square on the lower left and upper left
Yeah.
and right. They meant upper
Mhm.
left and right. Well, whoever
Right.
put this problem together was missing a lot of things.
Mhm.
Well, two's got the same problem. What am I missing here?
Yeah, I know. They didn't give you enough information. It's the thing.
You're cutting out 4 congruent squares that are 3 by 3.
Yeah.
That's this, that corner. Excuse me. I wish my cursor allowed me to point because I'm always trying to point with it. And it doesn't
Oh,
work.
you're good.
I got to use my mouse to point. So I'm
Oh,
cutting
really?
a corner from there, there,
Oh.
there, and there.
Yeah.
They don't say anything about this.
No.
And clearly, I could make this width anything I want
Mhm.
by varying the size of where I fold it on. We can certainly answer the first part.
Yeah.
If the
The
square
answer
is 7 inches, what's the length of the suitcase?
13 inches.
No, each square is
Right.
7 inches.
Oh, each square. Oh, each square. Oh, whoops. Yeah. So you would do 20 minus 14.
Right, so it'd be 6
Yeah.
inches. In other words,
Mhm.
what you'd be left with from here to here is 6 inches.
Yeah.
So what's the maximum square you could cut out?
7 inches. Right.
Well, 7 works. It leaves me with a suitcase that's pretty small. It's only 6 inches long.
Uh-huh.
How big a square could I actually cut out and still end up with a suitcase?
14. Oh, 7 times 4. So 28
No.
inches.
Well, first of all, the width of that piece of cardboard is only 20 inches.
Uh-huh. Oh, true.
That's
So
the biggest square I can make.
7 times 3 is 21.
Where are you getting 7?
The
Uh,
7 inches, I
no,
guess.
I'm just talking about, forget everything they've talked about, because I don't know how to answer the rest of the problem. I got the same problem with 2 as I had with 1.
Mm-hmm.
They've given us such a crappy drawing here that there's no way to figure out this distance.
Yeah.
Unless I am missing something, some piece of information that I'm not seeing or some logic, it's possible. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, because when I can
Yeah.
draw it in 2 different ways, resulting in 2 different widths, and I don't violate any of the information they gave us by
Yeah.
drawing it the other way, I'm still cutting out 3-inch squares,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't figure it out. Unless they're saying that this is a 3-inch square also, then I could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I have one 3-inch square there, one over there, and one in the middle. So there's a total of 9 inches. 36 minus 9 would give you 27 inches. Each one of them would be half of 27.
Mm-hmm.
And the width would be 3. But why
Yeah.
would they be asking us about the width if that was a 3-inch square? So
Right.
I don't think that's what they really meant either.
Uh-huh.
But in answer to my question is, what is the practical domain for X?
Mm-hmm.
10.
10.
You see why?
Yeah, I do see why.
Because if I cut out an X, there's our piece of cardboard.
Right.
Well, if I cut out a 10-inch square, that's what it
You'll
looks like.
have,
I'm taking
yeah,
half of the distance.
right. You
Now,
want,
I
yeah.
cut one out there too, but now I don't have a suitcase. I got a something that's going to fold up and be one-dimensional or two-dimensional, not three-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way X can be greater than 10, and if it's exactly 10, I don't have a suitcase. So it's got to be
Right.
less than 10. So the
Mm-hmm.
practical
Makes,
domain is X has to be less than 10.
okay.
I'm just making up questions because I don't know how to answer the ones that they have given us here.
Yeah.
But that is frequently a question where they will ask you what is the maximum size corner that you could cut out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can do 3A.
Yeah, we could.
So instead of 3 inches, it's X inches.
Uh-huh.
At least we can figure out the length.
Mm-hmm.
So that is X. Same with this.
Mm-hmm.
So now what is this length?
So we cut out. So would it be like what? How would you come up with an equation for this?
Well, what's the total length of the card, or what's the total short measurement of the cardboard?
Short measurement.
It's 20.
Uh, yeah.
Cardboard is 20 by 36. I didn't want to
Right.
say length because what they're asking for, they're calling this length. Normally
Mm-hmm.
we would call that width,
Right.
but they're calling it length. Okay.
Okay.
So what is that? If I'm cutting out a corner that is X dimensions, what is it from here to here?
All right.
20 from here to here.
And you're cutting out.
How'd you get the first answer when we cut out 3 inches? You took 20 minus 2 times 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going
So
to be
20
20
minus
minus
4
2x.
or 2x. Yeah.
Well, there's only 2. There's not 4 x's. That's x and that's x.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this measurement that I've circled, which I presume they're calling the length of the suitcase,
Mm-hmm.
is 20 minus 2x.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm probably not going to be able to answer anything else. No, I can't. Write an expression for the width of the suitcase. Hmm.
Can we do the same 36 minus 2x for the width?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, but that really is not the width.
No.
Width of the suitcase. In other words, when we're all done, we're going to have something. Let's see if I can draw a picture of it.
Okay.
We are going to have a picture that looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
With me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. That's what our suitcase is going to look like. This measurement right here
Mm-hmm.
is this measurement from there to there, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right? I mean, if we do exactly what they say, fold it,
Right.
cut these corners out and fold it up.
Uh-huh.
We end up with this box that is
Okay.
the suitcase. And I'm assuming that what they're calling length is that.
Yeah.
What they're calling width is that, which is this.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're calling height is from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the height of the suitcase. So this
Right.
is going to be the length
Okay.
and the width and the height. That's the way I see it. I don't see what
Yeah.
else you could do, because you're going to fold along there, you're going to fold along there, you're going to fold along there, there, here,
Yeah.
here, and there. So if you fold along wherever I've marked a horizontal or vertical blue line, you end up with this suitcase.
Okay.
I think. Am I looking at it wrong? I don't think so.
I think you're
The
right. Yeah.
flaps here have to end up folding in to cover this back part. In other words, the
Mm-hmm.
black panel right there are going to come from these two flaps together after
Right.
you folded it up on the dotted lines. And then you fold it more, and this back face comes from that flap and that flap being next to one another.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm back to exactly the same problem in that they haven't given me enough information to calculate W or H.
No, they haven't. They really screwed up on this.
They did.
Yeah.
Or else I'm screwing up. It's possible. It's late. It's been a long day. You're my fifth hour. Or
Oh, jeez.
so my brain might not be thinking properly here, but I am
That's okay.
perplexed by this because
Yeah, me too.
I was perplexed the moment I saw it because
Well, yeah,
they're
everyone in
not giving
class was
us
really
any
confused on
information
this.
about this thing right here.
Right. And everyone in class was like really confused on this. And,
I can see
you
why.
know, it's like, yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Normally, first of all, it shouldn't be a suitcase problem.
No.
It should be an open top box problem.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean a typical problem that's given to students
Yeah.
is you have a piece of cardboard.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to cut out corners out of each corner, and then you're going to fold it up into make a box. You're going to fold it along the dotted lines.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, these are missing. Those are not there. I'm cutting them out.
Mm-hmm.
So if I fold on the dotted lines, I have an open top box, do I not?
You do, yeah.
And if they give me the dimensions 36 by 20 of the piece of cardboard, and the next question usually is what should the dimensions of the squares be to give you the maximum volume for the box?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a calculus problem.
That is,
And
yeah.
it's
Right.
not hard because we start out by calling them x. So your length of the box
Uh-huh.
is 36 minus 2x. Your width of the box is 20 minus 2x. And your
Mm-hmm.
height of the box is x, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, here I know the volume is that times that times that. Everything's in x. So I
Mm-hmm.
can solve for what x makes the maximum volume as a calculus problem.
Yeah.
But in this fakakta problem they're giving you here, a suitcase instead of a box,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't given us enough information. Or else
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it wrong.
No, no, I don't think. No, it makes sense.
Doesn't
I
this
think you're like,
have to be the width of the final suitcase?
it has to be. Yeah,
Yeah, and that could be
it
anything.
has to
That has
be.
nothing to do with the size of the corner squares we cut out.
Right. Yeah, they
It
didn't
has
give you
to do with
information on
where
like.
these lines are drawn.
Yeah,
I don't
they
have to
didn't give you
draw those
information.
lines there. I can draw them here,
Mm-hmm.
making the width of the suitcase smaller, or I can draw them over here, making
Mm-hmm.
the width of the suitcase longer. Eh,
Yeah.
no, I just figured it out.
Oh, you did.
I did, yeah. When I fold this thing up,
Yeah.
and I fold all the flaps together,
Uh-huh.
let's go back to that picture. I'll draw it real quick. We'll end this here, and I think you'll be able to maybe figure out the rest of it on your own,
Okay.
since we don't have any time.
Yeah.
This back face here
Mm-hmm.
is made up of that panel and that panel perfectly matching up when I
Okay.
fold them over. In other
Right.
words, think about folding this into a suitcase. The
Uh-huh.
only way you get this back panel is if these two come together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means that that plus that has to equal the width. Well, I know that's x.
Yeah.
So when I put the two of them together, this has to be 2x. In other
Okay.
words, that has to be 2x, or in their question, the width has to be 6.
Oh.
And now once I know that that's 6 and that's 3, now I can figure out the height. Because I've got 36 inches minus 12 inches is 24 inches, and each one has to be 12 inches in this measurement.
Okay.
Because that's 6, these are each 12, 12 and
Uh-huh.
12 is 24, 6 is 30, and these other 6 makes 36.
Okay.
So their problem wasn't so stupid after all, I just wasn't seeing it.
You're good.
Because if I made the width greater than 6, then I don't form a suitcase.
Right.
I got a gap here.
Okay.
If I make the width greater than 6, then these two flaps don't come together, aren't flush with one another.
Mm-hmm.
The only way they're flush with one another is if the width is exactly 6 inches.
Okay.
Okay? And if the
Mm-hmm.
width is 6 inches, now we can figure out the height. The height is 12 inches. What's
Okay.
the volume? The length times the width times the height. I forgot what our length was. What is the length? 36 minus 6, 30.
Yeah.
So the volume is 30 times 12 times 6.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I won't do the math. I'll just list it like this. You can do that in your calculator.
Yeah.
And if we
2000.
use that exact same logic for the rest of it, then we can do the same exact thing. In other
Okay.
words, if the corners are 7 inches, then the width has to be 14 inches.
Okay.
Because that measurement from there, excuse me,
No,
the
you're good.
measurement from here to there in the first problem was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I make that 7 and fold it up, then these two flaps together will be 14 inches wide and they'll be flush with one another.
Okay.
So for the second problem, use these dimensions. That's 14 and these are each 7. So
Okay.
you can figure out the width, the length, and the height.
Yeah.
Okay?
Awesome.
This
Okay.
actually was a much better problem than I thought it was, because it requires you to realize that the only way you make a suitcase is if these two flaps, that flap and that flap, are flush.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a space between them when we fold it up and make a suitcase, then we got a hole in our suitcase. So
Right.
if we want a suitcase that's solid on all sides, then these two flaps have to be flush, which means that they form a width of 14 inches in this case.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Wasted
Oh,
the
you're
whole
fine.
time bitching about their problem, and it turned out that it was actually a pretty good problem.
You're good.
It just
No, no
wasn't
worries.
explained all that well, but maybe you're supposed to be able to figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, all right, Dylan, I will let you
Awesome.
go. Talk
Sounds
to you
good.
next time.
Sounds good. Thanks for the count.